January 14th, 2009, 2:45 a.m., in the quiet suburban streets of Gilbert, Arizona. A 911 call shatters the early morning stillness. On the line, a woman, hysterical and screaming for help. Moments later, police cars flood the tranquil neighborhood. Officers rush into a two-story home, finding chaos inside. A woman trembling, covered in blood, gasping for air between sobs. Upstairs, the scene is something no one is prepared for. A man lies beside the bed with a severe head trauma, the mattress covered with blood. A hammer lies on the carpet nearby, the handle slippery, the floor smeared with footprints that tell a story of panic and violence. The woman insists she was attacked, that she fought for her life, that someone saved her, but the evidence whispers a different story. In this quiet neighborhood, where every lawn is manicured and every family seems ordinary, something unimaginable has happened behind closed doors. Who was this man? What really unfolded in the darkness before dawn? And how did a desperate plea for help turn into one of Arizona's most chilling murder cases? Welcome back to the Silent Files, where real crimes reveal hidden truths. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy gripping true crime stories, please like and subscribe, and be sure to turn your notification bell on so you never miss another video. Now, let's dive into the case of a woman named Marissa DeVault. At 36, Marissa DeVault was a mother to 3 children and a wife who presented one image to the world while constructing a complex, fabricated life behind closed doors. She was a former exotic dancer whose stage name was Reese Cup, a nickname given to her by her mother. Marissa portrayed the image to outsiders that her marriage had been poisoned by years of abuse. Physical, emotional, and sexual. She claimed her husband controlled her, humiliated her, and hurt her behind closed doors. Dale Harrell, Marissa's husband, was 34 years old when he was brutally attacked. According to friends and neighbors, they had never witnessed Dale abuse Marissa. They remembered Dale as easygoing, attentive, and devoted to his children. None had ever seen bruises, heard cries, or witnessed the explosive fights Marissa would later describe. Crucially, at the time of the murder, Marissa was drowning in a deep financial hole. Over a 2-year period, she had managed to borrow over $300,000 from her secret lover named Alan Flores. Alan Flores was a Yale University-educated management consultant and was 2 decades older than Marissa. He met her on the Sugar Daddy's website, and despite Marissa's attempts to frame him as her dead stepfather's gay lover, their relationship was intimate. Alan Flores wasn't the only man orbiting Marissa's chaotic world. Another one was Travis Tatro, a tall, imposing man she'd met years earlier when she worked as an exotic dancer. Tatro described her as magnetic, someone who could blend vulnerability with control in the same breath. Their relationship, like most of hers, was built on lies. She once told Tatro that her husband, Dale, had died of stomach cancer. Later, when she claimed Dale had come back from the dead and was abusing her, Tatro began to see the truth and walked away. It was clear that Marissa was a master manipulator, using her tools of sympathy, seduction, and storytelling. Each man she encountered believed a different version of her life: victim, widow, mother, lover. When police first responded to that 911 call on January 14th, Marissa told a story of being brutally attacked by her husband, Dale. She claimed Dale had choked her until she was unconscious. She insisted that when she came to, she was under Dale. But the meticulous, cold analysis of the crime scene would prove this story a complete fabrication. Bloodstain patterns told a different, undeniable tale. The evidence indicated that Dale Harrell was alone in the bed at the moment of the assault. Marissa was not under him, but was instead in close proximity. More damningly, Bloodstains found on Marissa's clothes were consistent with a person swinging an object repeatedly over their head. This was not the position of a victim who had just regained consciousness. This was the position of the aggressor. Confronted with the scientific evidence, Marissa's story began to crumble, giving way to a series of conflicting, self-serving narratives. In a follow-up interview, Marissa DeVault confessed to attacking Harrell with the hammer as he slept. She stated she didn't know how many times she struck him before a man named Stan Cook Jr. intervened, taking the hammer from her. Stan Cook Jr. was a close friend of the couple and had been living with them for some time. Stan had suffered a traumatic brain injury from a 1998 motorcycle accident, which seriously impaired his memory. Importantly, Stanley had no clear memory of the night's horror. Marissa told police she would have continued the assault had Stan Cook not stopped her. Based on this, police arrested her on suspicion of attempted second-degree murder. Dale was transported to Scottsdale Osborne Healthcare for emergency surgery. But as Dale battled his severe injuries and the attempted murder charge loomed, Marissa changed her story again. Now she claimed she killed him in self-defense because he had sexually abused her, choked her, and had physically abused her for years. She also changed her account of who attacked Dale, suddenly claiming it was Stan Cook Jr., a convenient scapegoat for Marissa, considering Stan's severe brain injury and memory loss. Investigators didn't buy it. On February 27, 2009, nearly a month after the attack, Dale Harrell died from complications related to his head injuries. The charges against Marissa DeVault were immediately upgraded. A Maricopa County grand jury returned an indictment charging her with one count of first-degree murder with premeditation. Jury selection for the trial began on January 22, 2014, followed by a dramatic 16-day trial in Maricopa County Superior Court. The case was immediately likened to the high-profile Jodi Arias murder trial, which had taken place in the very same courtroom a year prior, leading to Judge Roland Steinle taking extensive measures to prevent the proceedings from becoming a media circus. The trial became a pitched battle between Marissa's claim of self-defense and the state's insistence on premeditation for financial gain. Prosecutor Michelle Areno laid out the case bluntly. The defendant likes money, and she likes easy money. The state argued that Marissa DeVault needed quick money to get out of her massive debt to Alan Flores. Collecting on the life insurance policies taken out on Dale Harrell was her desperate solution. Those closest to her also corroborated this financial motive through their testimony on the stand. One such witness was Flores, Marissa's secret lover, who also happened to be the prosecution's key witness. Flores's role for the prosecution was shrouded in controversy due to the revelation that inappropriate pictures and videos of minors were discovered on his computer, which led to a questionable immunity deal with the prosecution in exchange for his testimony. As expected, during the trial, the defense vehemently argued that granting immunity to a man like Flores, who was facing serious criminal allegations involving minors, all to secure testimony against Marissa, was unethical and unconscionable. His credibility was therefore severely compromised in court. Nonetheless, he testified that Marissa revealed to him that she had wanted to hire someone to kill Harrell, or kill him herself, and claimed that Dale tried to sexually abuse her. A search of Flores's computer even uncovered a journal entry, seemingly written from Flores's perspective, that indicated he had given Marissa about $7,000 to hire the hitman. Then there was Travis Tatro, Marissa's former lover, who testified that Marissa asked him to take care of Dale, who she said was hurting her. He didn't know if she meant to rough him up or to kill him. Either way, he testified that he refused. Marissa's lawyers attempted to paint her as a victim who snapped, having suffered a decade of abuse from her husband. The defense's most powerful witnesses were Marissa's 3 daughters, who graphically described witnessing beatings. The defense even tried to introduce a contentious interview transcript with the eldest daughter, who had just turned 18, though the judge barred its use unless the daughter testified. Prosecutors countered the defense's portrayal of Dale by presenting friends and neighbors of the couple, who all testified that they had never seen Dale abuse Marissa. They also pointed to Marissa's own conduct on the night of the attack, noting her perfectly manicured nails and light bruising, little evidence, they argued, of the life-or-death struggle she described. To underscore Marissa's callous nature, the prosecution showed interrogation tapes, made hours after the crime, in which Marissa was seen laughing awkwardly, claiming, I saw a hammer go into Dale's head.
And then the next thing I see is, I saw a hammer go into Dale's head.
The proceedings were tumultuous, to say the least. Judge Roland Steinley was forced to frequently send the jury out of the courtroom to reprimand both the prosecutors and the defense lawyers for their aggressive tactics. After a grueling 16 days of testimony, the jury began its deliberations. It took them 7 days to reach a verdict. On April 8, 2014, the jury found Marissa DeVault guilty of first-degree murder with premeditation. The penalty phase began a week later. Although the prosecution's entire case was based on the financial motive, the jury ultimately settled on a different basis for seeking the death penalty. They found that the murder was committed in an especially cruel manner, a sufficient aggravating factor for the imposition of a death sentence. The jury was tasked with deciding Marissa's final fate. They deliberated over the sentence, at one point asking the judge if they could consider the welfare of Marissa's children as a mitigating factor. On late April 22nd, the jury returned its decision. They spared her the death penalty and instead imposed a life sentence. The final decision was left to Judge Roland Steinley, whether Marissa would serve a natural life sentence or have the possibility of release after 25 years. On June 6, 2014, the final hammer fell. Judge Steinley heard tearful pleas for leniency from Marissa's 3 daughters. Her oldest, Rhiannon Skye Dale Harrell, told the court, "My dad was much stronger than you think, and if he wanted to leave, he would have." Marissa, wearing a jail uniform, fought back tears during their comments. In her brief statement to the court before sentencing, Marissa DeVault offered a hollow regret. "I wish I had known all the things I know now so I could make healthier choices." But Judge Steinley rejected Marissa's claims of being a victim of domestic violence, noting that he believed she killed her husband out of greed. He chose the harsher punishment. Marissa DeVault was sentenced to natural life in prison. She will never be eligible for parole. For the family of Dale Harrell, this was a final measure of justice. Melinda Artrup, Dale's sister, described her pain and frustration, saying Marissa took away her brother's chances to witness milestones in his daughters' lives, and expressed anger that Marissa tried to taint my brother's name. This case leaves behind no heroes, only casualties of deceit, desire, and delusion. In the end, the truth died in that bedroom too, right beside Dale Harrell, A hammer, an ordinary object meant to build, to create, and hold things together, became the exact opposite. An instrument of destruction, betrayal, and the brutal collapse of everything it once helped build. Was Marissa DeVault a woman pushed too far, or a master manipulator who turned pain into currency? That question lingers, unanswered, because in the end, both versions of her may have been true. And for the 3 daughters left behind, there's no justice strong enough to rebuild what was lost. A father's gone, and a mother's in prison. There was so much to unpack in this case. Tell me, what stuck out to you the most? Please leave your comments below. Also, please let us know where in the world you're watching from. We love learning about our viewers. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the case of Marissa DeVault, drop us a like and subscribe, and check out our other videos on our channel. You've been watching The Silent Files, where real crimes reveal hidden truth. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.